Il y a peut-être 30 ans quand j'étais visité Québec première fois, comme Jeff a dit, j'ai travaillé à Gaspésie comme stagiaire à le ministère de l'Énergie et Ressources. La plupart des CT de ma jeunesse, c'est oublié. Mais été 1988, je me souviens très bien. Les paysages formidables, les gens sont gentils et des millions de moustiques. Ok, mais il faut continuer en anglais parce que, yeah, I will continue in English. That's probably better for all of us. I will talk about Finnish energy transition, and I will focus in bioenergy and especially to forest bioenergy. And then I will tell how bioenergy related research and development has been evolving towards bioeconomy and renaissance of the Finnish forest industry. Now the question is that how can I move forward? Should I push this button? Oh no. Okay, first a few words about Luke. It's Luke the Skywalker, and even our customer magazine's name is Leija. So we have organized our organization so that we have research programs, the very colorful boxes on the left-hand side, and as was mentioned, I have been heading the Boreal Green Bioeconomy earlier. 3 weeks ago, I started as Executive Vice President of Research, and now I'm also in charge for the rest of the programs, so the Innovative Food System, Blue Bioeconomy, and Biosociety. So I have been studying fisheries management and also cattle and all kind of interesting stuff in recent days. I just show quick how the program has been organized. We started from the genomics and breeding, and right now the resistance breeding against the climate change and also pests and pathogens is the really important part of the research. And in sustainable biomass production, we are looking at also pest management, but today Finnish forest industry is doing so well that we start to have a shortage of raw material. Earlier, Canadian pulp and paper sector was much larger than that of Finland, but last year, I think it was the first year in the history of mankind that Finnish pulp and paper production and carton board production was bigger than that of Canada. And that situation has changed in 1 decade. Then we have forest resource and supply management, meaning forest machinery, also looking at the forest resources. And if there are anybody from Sweden, I'm glad to announce that Finland is the leading technology leader in forest machines. There is the biggest forest machine factory in the world in my hometown, and we are having about 2/3 of the European markets in the forest sector. So everybody here probably knows Ponsse and John Deere's forest machines, Nordic forest machines, are manufactured in Finland. Luka is everywhere in all over Finland, so we cover the whole country, and they should be. We have about 1,300 employees, and I'm working in Joensuu predominantly. About bioeconomy, there is one figure that you could take home, and it is a simple figure that we have calculated so that 1 cubic meter that we harvest from the forest and put it through the Finnish bioeconomy system, it generates added value of 200 euros. And as you can see, the green color representing the forest bioeconomy really dominates in this picture. And we are aiming to increase that turnover to 100 million euros by 2030. It is an ambitious goal, but by now the turnover has been increasing really rapidly thanks to large investments in the pulping sector and carton board sector and other biorefining. Then I switched to the wood fuels because after the year 2000 we were not doing really well in forest industries, and we had decided already before that to get rid of oil. And today the share of renewable energy is 37% in our energy mix. The figure is higher in Quebec thanks to your hydro production. This is based largely on the wood-based fuels, and then there is some hydro. And if we are looking at the wood fuels, large part is coming from the pulping industry, black liquor production. We are also producing chemicals out of it, but then we are heating our houses with traditional firewood and consuming huge amounts of firewood in our saunas. And then we have heating and power plants, so that today almost every village in Finland has a heating plant that is using wood chips to produce district heat. Utilization of wood fuels has been increasing really fast in recent years. So starting from year 2000 we have increased the wood fuel use by about 30%, and also other renewables have been increasing pretty fast. We had a recession after the US housing crisis, and nobody really believed that we would recover in our forest industry, and then our government decided to have a strategic program for forest industries to modernize the old and declining paper sector to modern biorefining. And after a 3-year program, we were all convinced, including the public sector and the industries, that we could do it. And as a result, not only the wood-based energy production has been increasing, but also the pulp and paper production. What we managed to do first was the huge increase of the production of residual forest biomass. This blue one is logging residues, low quality wood, wood from salvage loggings that earlier didn't have any value. It was just a cost for the forest owner. But with the technology development, we managed to burn really wet and dirty fuels, and today we are utilizing almost 8 million cubic meters that kind of material for energy. And here in Quebec, you have huge amounts unmobilized, underutilized residual biomass that could be converted to heat, power, and liquid biofuels with the existing technology. But what did happen? What induced this bio-based energy growth? There's a difference of 2 years, 2000 and 2008, and within less than a decade, the utilization of that residual biomass just exploded. And what was behind it? We made outrageous investments in R&D in 1990s, and I was a young researcher then, and we had really ambitious projections how this all will take off. And I thought that, okay, in your dreams, this will never happen. I was happy that I received some grants to make research on the bioenergy field, but I thought that they were far too ambitious goals. But to my great surprise, it all materialized, and we managed to reach the goals in about 15 years. So we had about 20 R&D programs running during 15 years, and then in IEA list, I found that we had 100 policy programs, R&D programs, different measures to support this development. We had wood energy technology program first, where we had really concrete goals. So if you really want to switch from light fuel oil outside the grid to wood, you should have really concrete, measurable goals for the development. What's the price of the fuel has to be so that it's competitive against oil, and how much you have to improve the quality of wood that you are supplying to your burners. And then we have had a business program. We very rapidly realized that Finland itself is a really small market to our technology providers. They can initiate the development there and develop the products, but then we have to sell it all over the world. And I think that one of these outposts of this Nordic technology or Nordic Canadian technology could be here in Quebec, maybe in Latuc, maybe in other places like in small municipalities producing heat for their production, for their housing. First thing, with maybe one thing that you should, or most of you already know with bio-based energy, is that the investment cost is really the barrier. If you are switching from oil to chip-fired plants, you have to invest at least 3 times more money than if you are buying a gas burner or oil burner. So if government is planning to give some subsidy to launch the program, you finance the investments, and after that it will run by itself. But you need that boost in the beginning. And then you need a lot of education. You already have education at the university level in technology, but then also in polytechnics, and then in the end of the day, you need the guys who are able to make the assembly of the burners and chip-fired plants. Because if you are screwing up this in the beginning, nobody will purchase this equipment. We are working in different parts of the Europe, or have been working in different parts of the Europe, and now Luke really wants to come to Canada, and we want to work together with you. And I think we have made already a really good exercise here in Quebec concerning Latuc. We are cutting, despite the GDP growth, we have been #1 in a cutting of the emissions in energy production in European Union last year. We are really proud of it, and it's largely based on wood fuels. And now we are switching to bioeconomy. The fact is that we can't build much more bio-based heating because every village already has bio-based system with the heating networks. And so we are switching to focus in the modernizing of forest industry and introducing new products to the market. So you have probably heard about the largest forest industry investment ever in Finland and in European Union. It is the Äänekoski bioproduct mill, and there they are producing mainly pulp, but in the future more and more biochemicals, and also they are producing biogas from the wastewater to run the timber trucks with the renewable fuels in the future. And today we are still quite far from our target of liquid bio-based fuels. It's only 5% in 2016 according to the statistics, and our goal is 40% by 2030. By far the largest producers in Finland is Neste, which you probably know. UPM is using tall oil to produce diesel, and then we have ST1, which is a small oil company, and they are producing ethanol from the wastes of food industries. This is our largest, let's say, production line that is producing wood-based material. It's coming from tall oil, and they are today producing 120 million liters per year. And this is functioning technology. The only challenge is that tall oil is rather a small source of raw material, so you can't ramp up it very much. But this is really proven technology that could be also introduced in the pulp mills here in Canada. And then pyrolysis oil, which was actually brought from Canada to Finland. We bought the patents, and this plant is running in my hometown, and they are producing 150,000 tons of pyrolysis oil to replace heavy fuel oil in heating. Finally, a few words about forest management. You have been going through really bad fire seasons in 2017 and 2018, and also 2015 was really bad, not necessarily here in Quebec, but in British Columbia. I made some comparisons which are not really, the situation is not really comparable, but we have about the same amount of land fires in Finland as people have in British Columbia. It's somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 land fires. But the big difference is that we have really dense forest road network. Actually, here's the comparison with Russia. So we can reach this fire really fast and take it down before it's spreading uncontrollable. So typically the forest area that is burning in Finland is 1,000 hectares per year, whereas in recent years in BC it has been 1.2 million hectares or 1.3 million hectares. We haven't had that dry summers as you have experienced, but it will be the problem in Finland also. But really this cutting down and applying thinnings and taking away the dead wood for the industry reduces the fuel load in the forest drastically, and also the risk of really intensive forest fires. So these are the targets for the future. We want to be cost efficient, because if there is not economic viability, nobody will invest in bioeconomy. And then we are really putting emphasis on the biofuels and biogas. We will be, I have to check what I wrote there. We are cutting the use of oil by 50% during the 2020s, and this is the most ambitious goal. And again, this is a goal that I don't really believe today that we are going to achieve, but let's see what happens. And we will raise the share of transport fuels by 40% by 2030. And then we could ship you small-scale installations, and there is our Prime Minister's company, small CHP for remote communities, and these have been sold all over the world to produce electricity and heat from in a small unit, and it really does run throughout the whole winter without any extra maintenance. And as I said, we are now relying on paper and packaging and bioenergy, but for more and more we are moving up, and now we have a program in Äänekoski where they are building a textile mill based on wood fibers. So that was briefly the introduction to Finnish bioeconomy, and we are really looking forward to opportunities to transfer our failures and success to, not failures, but only the success to Quebec, and you can learn about our failures. Thank you very much for your attention.